Everyone feared the millionaire until the waiter, single dad, stood up to her before everyone. "Just before we start, drop the flag of your country. My little kid loves seeing how far our stories travel." The crystal chandelier above table 7 cast fractured light across white linen as Marcus Hale approached with the Chateau Margaux. His hands, scarred knuckles hidden beneath white gloves, moved with practiced precision. 34 years old, 6'1", lean muscle beneath the server's jacket. The kind of build earned through pain, not gyms. Dark hair kept military short. Eyes that tracked everything while revealing nothing. "Your wine?" "Ma'am?" Victoria Sterling didn't look up. 30 years old. Ice blonde hair pulled severe. Armani suit sharp enough to draw blood. Her 3 associates, middle-aged men in expensive ties, leaned forward like supplicants. She signed a document without reading it. Power moves. Marcus had seen them before. In different contexts. Different continents. "This isn't the 2015. Her voice could freeze gasoline. "I specified the 2015 vintage." Marcus checked the bottle. She was right. His mistake. First one in 6 months. "My apologies, Miss Sterling. I'll retrieve the correct vintage immediately. Do you understand what this dinner represents?" She finally looked at him. Her eyes were Arctic blue, beautiful and merciless. "A $12 million acquisition. Your incompetence just interrupted negotiations that employ 200 people. The restaurant quieted. 40 tables, 80 pairs of eyes. Marcus felt them all. The prickling awareness never left, even 3 years after discharge. Even serving overpriced pasta to Philadelphia's elite. "I understand, ma'am, it won't happen again." "No, it won't." She turned to the maitre d', hovering nervously nearby. "Is this your standard? Because I'm reconsidering our corporate account." The threat hung there. Pearson's restaurant had 3 corporate accounts worth mentioning. Sterling Ventures was the largest. Marcus watched his manager's face pale. Good man. Family. Mortgage. Daughter in college. "Miss Sterling, I take full responsibility," the manager began. "I wasn't speaking to you." She stared at Marcus, waiting for him to crack, to grovel. Men usually did around Victoria Sterling. Her fortune, inherited at 23, tripled by 30, bought compliance, bought silence, bought everything except what Marcus possessed in dangerous abundance, the bone-deep certainty that some things mattered more than paychecks, like dignity, like showing his daughter what a man looked like when the world pressed down. Emma, 7 years old, sitting in the break room right now drawing pictures while Daddy finished his shift. Brown curls like her mother's. Her mother, dead 4 years. Cancer. The kind that steals everything slowly while you watch. Marcus met Victoria's stare, didn't blink, didn't apologize again. Just stood there, still as stone, while something indefinable passed between them. Recognition, maybe. The predator sensing something that wouldn't run. Her expression shifted. Microsecond. Confusion replacing contempt. "Get the correct bottle," she said finally, "and don't appear at this table again." "Yes." "Ma'am?" He walked away, feeling her eyes on his back. The other servers avoided his gaze. They'd seen this before. The slow ritual of humiliation that preceded termination. In Pearson's, you didn't embarrass the clientele. Especially not the ones who funded the owner's yacht payments. The wine cellar was cool. Dim. Marcus found the 2015 Margaux, checked the label twice. His hands didn't shake. They never did anymore. Not since Kandahar. Not since the night 16 insurgents learned what Rangers do when their brothers die. He carried the bottle upstairs, delivered it to table 7 through another server. Professional courtesy. The restaurant's rhythm resumed. Marcus worked his other tables, smiled when appropriate, made small talk with a couple celebrating their anniversary. Normal. Invisible. At 9:15, the break room door opened. Emma looked up from her coloring book. "All done, Daddy?" "Almost." "Sweetheart." She studied his face with an intensity that always surprised him. "Old soul," the grief counselor said. "Children who witness loss mature differently." Emma had watched her mother fade for 18 months. She understood pain's language. "You're using your quiet voice," she observed. Marcus knelt. Eye level. "Just a long night, Em. Nothing to worry about." "Did someone yell at you?" "Smart. Too smart." He brushed a curl from her forehead. "Grown-up stuff. How's the picture coming?" She held up the drawing. A man and a girl holding hands, hearts floating above them. The man wore a cape. "That's us," Emma explained. "You're a superhero because you make the best pancakes and you're never scared." Something cracked inside Marcus's chest. Small fissure in the armor. He pulled her close, breathing in the strawberry shampoo they bought in bulk from Target. "I love you, baby girl. Love you more, Daddy." A knock. The manager, looking apologetic. "Marcus, office, please." Emma's hand tightened on his. She knew. Children always know. "5 minutes," Marcus told her. "Then we go home, okay?" "Okay." The office was cramped, smelling of old coffee and desperation. The manager, Robert Chen, decent man, 3 kids of his own, sat behind a desk covered in invoices. "Sit, please." Marcus remained standing. "I know what this is." "Marcus, you're the best server I have. Reliable, professional, 0 complaints in 18 months. Until tonight. She wants you gone." Robert rubbed his face. "Called the owner personally, threatened to pull the account. That's $60,000 a month." "Marcus, I have 17 employees, rent's going up, the economy's, I understand." "Do you?" Robert stood. "Because I'm about to fire a single father for making a 30-year-old billionaire uncomfortable. That keeps me up nights." "Then don't." "What?" "Don't let it keep you up." Marcus's voice stayed level, carved from something harder than stone. "You're protecting your people. That's the job. I respect it." Robert stared. "Jesus, Marcus. Where does a guy learn to take a gut punch like that?" "Helmand Province." Marcus didn't say. Watching friends bleed out in desert sand. Learning that survival meant accepting what you couldn't change and protecting what mattered. "I need 2 weeks," Marcus said instead. "Find something else. Make sure Emma's covered. You've got 4, and a reference that'll get you hired anywhere." Robert extended his hand. "I'm sorry." They shook. Marcus felt the calluses. Robert worked kitchen before management. Understood labor. Understood what men like them did to keep roofs overhead. "One question," Robert said. "That thing with Sterling, the way you looked at her. I've seen bar fights start over less, but you just stood there. How?" Marcus thought of Emma in the break room, of the drawing with the superhero father, of the promise he'd made over his wife's grave, to be the kind of man his daughter could believe in. "Some battles aren't worth fighting," he said. He collected Emma, her backpack, the coloring book. They walked to the bus stop through October cold. Philadelphia's streets glittered with wealth Marcus would never touch. Didn't want to touch. He had something better. "Daddy?" Emma's mittened hand in his. "Are we going to be okay?" He looked down at her upturned face, innocent, trusting, utterly dependent on him to hold the world together with duct tape and determination. "Always, sweetheart, I promise." She smiled, believed him. Because 7-year-olds believe their fathers are invincible. Even when the bills pile up and the jobs disappear and the world grinds down everyone who isn't born into penthouse suites. The number 23 bus arrived. They found seats in back. Emma leaned against his shoulder, drawing invisible patterns on the frosted window. Marcus watched the city pass. Somewhere out there, Victoria Sterling was probably finishing her acquisition, crushing dreams, building empires. She'd forget him by morning. He'd remember her forever. Not because of the humiliation. Marcus had survived worse. But because of the moment their eyes met. That flicker of confusion when she realized he wouldn't break. Predators know their prey. She'd seen something that didn't fit her understanding of men who served wine and accepted degradation. The bus rumbled through streets Marcus knew by heart. Past the pharmacy where he bought Emma's asthma medication. Past the laundromat where they spent Sunday afternoons. past the playground where he pushed her on swings until his arms ached, making up for all the things he couldn't give her. Normal life. Invisible life. The only life that mattered. Emma fell asleep against him. Marcus held her carefully, feeling the small weight of her trust. This was what Rangers protected. Not abstract concepts like freedom or democracy. This, a child sleeping safely because her father stood between her and the chaos. His phone buzzed. Text from Sarah, the night shift nurse he sometimes dated. Casual, uncomplicated. She understood he had nothing left to give beyond Wednesday dinners and honesty about his limitations. Heard what happened. You okay? Fine, he typed back. Always fine. Because that's what men did. Absorbed the damage. Kept moving. Pretended the weight didn't crush them slowly, invisibly, until something inside calcified into whatever Marcus had become. The apartment was small. One bedroom, Emma's. He took the couch. Her walls were covered in drawings, each one featuring the same caped figure. His daughter's superhero. The man who made everything okay even when nothing was. He carried her to bed, tucked the blanket around her chin. She stirred, mumbling something about pancakes. He kissed her forehead, breathing in that strawberry shampoo scent that meant home. In the kitchen, Marcus opened his laptop. Job searches, server positions, warehouse work, construction. Anything that paid enough to cover rent, food, Emma's needs. His resume was sparse. High school diploma, military service, details classified. No college, no connections, just 2 strong hands and a willingness to bleed for minimum wage. 3 a.m. came. 4. 5. Marcus made coffee. Watched dawn break over Philadelphia's skyline. Somewhere in those towers, Victoria Sterling was probably sleeping in 1,000-thread count sheets, dreaming of mergers and market dominance. He wondered if she ever thought about the people she crushed. Probably not. But Marcus thought about her. Not with anger, not even resentment, just curiosity. What made a woman that cold, that certain, that willing to destroy a stranger's livelihood over a wine bottle? He'd seen cruelty before. In war, it had purpose, survival, strategy. But Victoria's cruelty was different. Casual, almost reflexive. The cruelty of someone who'd never been told no, never faced consequences. Never learned that power carried responsibility. His phone alarm chimed. 6:30. Time to wake Emma for school. He set the coffee down, straightened his shoulders, and prepared to be the father his daughter believed in. Somewhere, miles away in a penthouse suite, Victoria Sterling opened her eyes. She'd dreamed of a man who wouldn't look away, but she couldn't remember why that bothered her. Marcus walked Emma to McKinley Elementary through morning frost. Her backpack, purple, slightly worn, bounced against small shoulders. She chattered about the upcoming Halloween parade, oblivious to the careful mathematics running through her father's head. Rent due in 12 days. Groceries budget, $43. Bus fare, Emma's inhaler prescription. The numbers never balanced, but Marcus made them work through sheer stubborn will. Mrs. Patterson says I can be an astronaut for the parade, Emma announced. But we need cardboard and aluminum foil. We'll figure it out, sweetheart. They always did. Last year's fairy costume came from Goodwill finds and YouTube tutorials. Marcus learned to sew watching videos at midnight. Needle-pricked fingers bleeding onto cheap fabric. The dress turned out perfect. Emma's smile, gap-toothed, radiant, made every stabbed fingertip worth it. The school loomed ahead, brick and glass, filled with children whose parents drove Mercedes SUVs. Emma never complained about the difference. Never mentioned that her lunch came in reused grocery bags while others carried insulated containers with built-in ice packs. She just kissed Marcus goodbye, adjusted her backpack, and marched toward knowledge with the same determination she applied to everything. Love you, Daddy. Love you more. Love. Baby girl. He watched until she disappeared inside, then turned toward another day of survival. The unemployment office smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. Marcus took a number, 317, and settled into a plastic chair molded for discomfort. Around him sat Philadelphia's invisible army. Men in their 50s, displaced by automation. Women balancing children and desperation. Veterans like him, trying to translate combat skills into civilian employment. Number 317. The caseworker was young, earnest, drowning in bureaucracy. She reviewed Marcus's file with practiced sympathy. Server position, 18 months. Excellent references. She looked up. Why the termination? Customer complaint. Ah, she'd heard it before. The careful neutrality in her voice said everything. Well, your military background is impressive. Have you considered security work? Private contractors are always... No. Too fast, too hard. She blinked. Marcus softened his tone. I have a daughter. Security work means nights, weekends, unpredictable hours. I need something stable. What he didn't say, he'd done enough violence for 3 lifetimes, enough killing, enough watching good men die for unclear objectives. His hands carried enough blood. Emma deserved a father who came home clean. The caseworker typed, searched, frowned. There's a warehouse position, 3rd shift. Pays $13 an hour. I'll take it. Don't you want to hear the details? Marcus smiled without humor. Does it pay? Am I qualified? Will they hire someone who quits mid-shift if his daughter needs him? Probably not on that last part. Then what details matter? She studied him with something like recognition. Maybe she had kids too. Maybe she understood the impossible calculations single parents performed daily. The position's yours if you interview well, she said. But Marcus, you deserve better than warehouse work. Deserve's got nothing to do with it, ma'am. But I appreciate the thought. He left with an interview scheduled for Friday. Warehouse work meant lifting, loading, mindless repetition. It meant destroying his back by 40, trading health for Emma's future. But it paid. Barely. Enough. Maybe. The library was quiet, warm. Marcus spent 2 hours applying to every opening within bus route distance. Dishwasher, janitor, delivery driver. His standards had evaporated somewhere between his wife's funeral and learning that pride doesn't feed children. His phone buzzed. Sarah, coffee? Marcus checked the time. 11:15. Emma's school day ended at 3. Enough time. They met at the diner near Temple University, where coffee cost $1 and refills were infinite. Sarah looked tired. Night shifts aged everyone eventually, but smiled when he slid into the booth. You look like hell, she observed. Sweet talker. She laughed. They'd met at Emma's pediatrician's office 6 months ago. Sarah was there for a friend's kid. Marcus for Emma's asthma check. They'd started talking. Easy, uncomplicated. She understood he had nothing to offer beyond honesty and occasional Wednesday dinners when his schedule allowed. Heard through the grapevine, Sarah said. Sterling Ventures thing. That true? Word traveled fast in service industry circles. More or less. Jesus, Marcus, Victoria Sterling's a barracuda. Eats guys like you for breakfast. Lucky I'm not breakfast material. Sarah's expression shifted, concern replacing amusement. You ever going to tell me what you did before restaurants? Military, already told you. Yeah, but doing what? Because the way you move, the way you watch doors, the way you go completely still when you're processing something, that's not regular infantry. Marcus sipped coffee. Let the question hang. Sarah sighed. Right. Need to know basis. Got it. It's not about trust. I know. She reached across, squeezed his hand. Brief, friendly. It's about protecting me from whatever you're protecting everyone from. Very noble. Also very lonely. She wasn't wrong. Marcus lived in isolation's fortress, built brick by brick from classified operations and personal loss. Easier than explaining, safer than remembering. Emma likes you, he said instead. Emma's 7. She likes anyone who brings cookies. No, she's picky about people. Took her 8 months to warm up to her teacher, but you? Instant connection. Sarah's eyes softened. She's a special kid, Marcus. Reminds me why I do this job. All the blood and sadness. Then you meet a child that pure and remember there's still good in the world. Yeah. They sat in comfortable silence. The diner bustled around them. Students, workers, people living normal lives uninterrupted by nightmares or widowhood or the endless grind of making $17 stretch across 30 days. "The warehouse job," Sarah said eventually. "You're going to take it, aren't you? Need the money. It'll destroy your body. Got a better option?" She didn't. Nobody did. That was America's secret, the gap between rhetoric and reality, where hard work guaranteed nothing except harder work. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He answered warily. "Mr. Hale?" Male voice. Cultured. Vaguely familiar. "This is James Whitmore, Miss Sterling's chief of staff. Do you have a moment?" Marcus's jaw tightened. Sarah raised her eyebrows questioningly. "I'm listening." "Miss Sterling has reconsidered the situation at Pearson's. She was hasty. If you're willing to return to your position, she'll personally ensure your employment continues." The words landed like grenades. Sarah watched Marcus's face, reading something there that made her lean forward. "Why?" Marcus asked. "I'm sorry. Why would Miss Sterling reconsider? She got what she wanted. I'm gone. Her acquisition went through. What changed?" Silence on the line. Then, "Miss Sterling doesn't explain her decisions to staff, Mr. Hale. She simply makes them. This is a generous offer. Most people in your position would—" "I'm not most people." Clearly. Whitmore's tone shifted. Curiosity threading through professional polish. "May I ask what you intend to do?" Marcus thought of Emma. Her drawings. Her belief that Daddy could fix anything. The superhero cape she'd drawn that morning before school. "Tell Miss Sterling I appreciate the offer," he said. "But I'll find my own way." He ended the call. Sarah stared. "Please tell me you didn't just turn down your job." "I did." "Marcus, what the hell? She doesn't get to humiliate me, destroy my livelihood, then buy forgiveness because her conscience twitched. That's not how the world should work." "But that's how it does work. Jesus, you have a daughter. Pride's expensive when you're counting grocery money." Marcus met her eyes. "What do I teach Emma if I cave? That power always wins? That dignity has a price tag? That good men should accept whatever scraps the rich toss them? You teach her that survival matters more than pride." "No." His voice dropped. Carved from bedrock certainty. "I teach her that some things are worth protecting, even when it costs." Sarah slumped back. "You're insane." "Probably. Emma needs food more than she needs philosophy lessons. Emma needs a father she can respect. Everything else we'll figure out." They finished coffee in tense silence. Sarah paid. Marcus let her, swallowing pride because his wallet held $8 and Emma needed lunch money tomorrow. Outside, autumn wind cut through his jacket. Sarah hugged him goodbye, whispered "stubborn idiot" against his shoulder, and left for her shift. Marcus walked to the library, kept applying, kept fighting. At 3:00 he met Emma outside McKinley Elementary. She bounded over, gap-toothed smile bright enough to shame the sun. "Daddy, we learned about the solar system. Did you know Jupiter has 79 moons?" "I did not know that. Mrs. Patterson says I should be a scientist. Or a astronaut, I can't decide." Marcus knelt eye level. "You can be anything, sweetheart. Anything you work for. Even if we're not rich?" The question cut deeper than knives. 7 years old, already understanding class divides. "Especially then," Marcus said. "Rich people buy what they want. People like us earn it. Makes it worth more." Emma considered this with her characteristic seriousness, then nodded, accepting his words as gospel. Because Daddy never lied. They walked home through lengthening shadows. Past the bodega where Marcus bought day-old bread. Past the park where Emma played while he did pull-ups on rusted bars. Maintaining strength because bodies were tools requiring maintenance. Past the church offering free community dinners, Wednesdays and Sundays. Meals Marcus accepted for Emma's sake, choking down shame with every bite. Their apartment building loomed ahead. 6 floors, no elevator. Hallways smelling like boiled cabbage and defeated dreams. Home. Emma ran ahead, keys jangling. Marcus followed, carrying her backpack, watching her navigate stairs with the confidence of children who don't yet understand how fragile everything is. Inside, he made dinner. Spaghetti with jarred sauce, 99 cents on sale. Emma did homework at the kitchen table, tongue poking out as she practiced cursive. Marcus helped when she struggled, his rough hands guiding hers through elegant loops. "Daddy?" She looked up suddenly. "Why did that lady yell at you?" Marcus's hand stilled. "When?" "At the restaurant. I saw. Through the door." Christ. He'd thought she was absorbed in coloring. "She was upset about something small," he said carefully. "Sometimes people react bigger than situations deserve." "Was she mean?" "Yes." "Did it hurt your feelings?" Marcus set down the pencil, met his daughter's eyes, brown, deep, holding more wisdom than 7 years should contain. "A little," he admitted. "But I'm okay." Emma slid from her chair, wrapped small arms around his waist. "I think she's silly. You're the best daddy ever." The words shattered something Marcus had been holding together through will alone. He lifted Emma, held her tight, buried his face in strawberry-scented curls. "I love you, baby girl. Love you more, Daddy." They finished homework, watched an old Disney movie on the laptop, made popcorn in a pot because microwave bags cost extra. Normal evening, invisible life. At 8:30, Emma brushed teeth, changed into pajamas, climbed into bed. Marcus read 3 chapters of Charlotte's Web, doing voices that made her giggle, then tucked her in, kissed her forehead, whispered promises about tomorrow. In the kitchen, he opened his laptop. The warehouse interview confirmation glowed on screen. Friday, 2 p.m., $13 an hour. Night shift, body-breaking work. He accepted it, then kept searching. Because maybe somewhere in Philadelphia's vast indifference there existed a job that didn't require destroying himself. Maybe. His phone buzzed. Unknown number again. Marcus almost didn't answer. But Emma was sleeping. Rent was due. Pride had limits. "Mr. Hale." Not Whitmore this time. Victoria Sterling herself. Her voice carried the same Arctic certainty that had destroyed his employment 72 hours ago. "We need to talk." Marcus stood, walked to the window. Philadelphia glittered below, expensive and untouchable. "About what, Miss Sterling?" "About why you refused my offer. About what kind of man turns down guaranteed employment with a 7-year-old daughter depending on him. The kind who teaches his daughter self-respect." Silence. Then impossibly, something like laughter. "You're serious?" "Always." "Mr. Hale, I'm offering you your livelihood back. No conditions, full pay, benefits. What possible principal is worth?" "All of them." More silence. Marcus could almost hear her recalculating, trying to fit him into categories that made sense. Men in her world bent or broke. They didn't stand there, broke and defiant, choosing dignity over survival. "I underestimated you," she said finally. "Most people do, ma'am." "Don't call me ma'am. I'm 30 years old, not your grandmother." "What should I call you?" "Victoria, or Miss Sterling if you must insist on formality." A pause. "I'm told you have military background, special operations." Marcus's blood cooled. "Who told you that?" "I have resources. When someone interests me, I research. Your file's heavily redacted, but certain details leak through. Exemplary service. Multiple commendations. Medical discharge following." Stop. Command voice. Officer voice. The tone that made privates freeze mid-sentence. Victoria stopped. "That part of my life is closed," Marcus said quietly. "It has nothing to do with serving wine or raising my daughter or any other business of yours. Everything about you is my business if I choose to make it so." "No." "Ma'am, it isn't." "Miss Sterling." "What?" "I told you. Miss Sterling. Not ma'am." Despite everything, Marcus almost smiled. "Yes, Miss Sterling." "Better?" He heard rustling, like papers being moved. "I'm going to make you an offer, Mr. Hale, A real one. I need someone for a security position. Personal detail, the pay is… No. You haven't heard the amount. Doesn't matter. 50,000 a year, benefits, regular hours. You'd be home every night for your daughter. Marcus closed his eyes. 50,000. Emma's asthma medicine, good food, maybe even savings. College fund, the things good fathers provided. No, he said again. Why? Genuine confusion now, the predator encountering prey that defied ecosystem logic. Because I left that world for a reason, Miss Sterling. I appreciate the offer. Genuinely. But I'm not going back. To what? Security work? To violence. The word hung between them, heavy with implications. I see, Victoria said softly. You're damaged. We're all damaged, Miss Sterling. Some of us just hide it better. Another pause. Longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice carried something Marcus couldn't quite identify. Not sympathy, not pity, something sharper. Something… What if I need you, Mr. Hale? You don't know me well enough to need me. Perhaps, or perhaps I recognize something in you that I've never encountered before. Do you know what that is? No, ma'am. Miss Sterling. Yes, Miss Sterling. Integrity. She said it like a foreign word. Actual, functional integrity. Not the performance version wealthy people display at charity galas. The real thing. The kind that costs. Marcus had no answer for that. Think about my offer, Victoria continued. Take the weekend. I'll call Monday. Miss Sterling. Good night, Mr. Hale. Kiss your daughter for me. She hung up. Marcus stood at the window for a long time, phone cooling in his hand. Below, the city breathed. Above, stars struggled through light pollution. Somewhere between earth and sky, Marcus Hale tried to figure out what the hell just happened. In her penthouse 12 miles away, Victoria Sterling stood at her own window, martini glass forgotten on mahogany. She was thinking about a man who wouldn't break, and wondering why that terrified her more than anything in her carefully controlled world. Friday arrived with rain. Marcus walked Emma to school under a borrowed umbrella, its fabric torn and patched with duct tape. She splashed in puddles, delighted by simple physics, water displacement, surface tension, the joy of being 7 and unconcerned with metaphors about drowning. Daddy, why does rain smell different than shower water? Because rain picks up stuff from the air as it falls, dust, pollen, all kinds of particles we can't see. So we're breathing invisible stuff? Every second? Sweetheart. Emma processed this with characteristic seriousness. That's kind of cool and kind of scary. Most important things are. They reached McKinley Elementary. Marcus knelt for the goodbye hug, breathing in strawberry shampoo and innocence. Emma kissed his cheek, adjusted her backpack, turned toward knowledge. Love you, Daddy. Love you more, baby girl. The warehouse interview was at 2 p.m. Marcus spent the morning preparing, ironing his one good shirt, reviewing the job description, practicing answers to questions about reliability and commitment. The role was simple: receive shipments, log inventory, move boxes from point A to point B. Mindless work. Body-destroying work. But it paid. He arrived 15 minutes early, soaked despite the umbrella. The warehouse sprawled across 3 acres of industrial Philadelphia, all corrugated metal and efficiency. Inside, fluorescent lights hummed over concrete floors. The smell was cardboard and diesel fumes. Marcus Hale? The manager was 50-something, weathered, carrying himself like former military. He studied Marcus with eyes that had seen things. Yes, sir. Tom Brennan, operations manager. They shook hands. Brennan's grip was iron, testing. Says here you're former Army. What did you do? Infantry. Various assignments. Brennan's eyes narrowed. Various assignments is code for something interesting. Ranger tab? Marcus said nothing. Brennan smiled without warmth. Yeah, that's what I thought. He gestured toward the warehouse floor. Walk with me. They toured between towering shelves stacked 40 feet high. Forklifts whined. Workers moved with practiced efficiency, men and women who'd learned that survival meant speed, precision, no questions. Third shift is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., Brennan explained. Trucks arrive, you unload, sort, shelve. Standards 300 units per hour. Miss quota 3 times. You're gone. No exceptions. Understood. Pays 13 hourly. Time and a half after 40 hours. Benefits after 90 days. Brennan stopped walking. Most guys burn out in 6 months. Back problems. Repetitive stress. The work ages you fast. I'm not most guys. No. Brennan studied him. I don't think you are. But here's the thing, Hale. I read people. Been doing it 30 years, and you? You're running from something. Maybe toward something too. I don't care which. But I need to know you'll show up. Because night shift's short-staffed, and I can't afford someone who'll bail when they find something better. Marcus met his eyes. I have a 7-year-old daughter who needs food, shelter, and a father she can count on. I'll show up. Brennan nodded slowly. Start Monday, 11 p.m. sharp. Don't be late. They shook again. Marcus left with employment secured and soul slightly more compromised. Progress in the economics of survival. He picked Emma up from school, took her to the library. She did homework while Marcus researched night shift childcare options. Sarah had offered to help when she could, but nurse schedules were unpredictable. He'd need backup. Always backup. His phone buzzed. Victoria Sterling. Marcus let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Emma looked up. Aren't you going to answer? Not important, sweetheart. The call went to voicemail. Marcus focused on his daughter, watching her navigate multiplication tables with fierce concentration. This was important. This was everything. The phone buzzed again. Text this time. I don't appreciate being ignored, Mr. Hale. Marcus typed back. I'm with my daughter. You'll have to wait. Dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Where? He frowned. Excuse me? Where are you with your daughter? Why? Because I'm coming to you. Marcus stood abruptly. Emma looked up. Concerned. Daddy, you okay? Fine, sweetheart. Keep working. He stepped outside the library, called Victoria. She answered first ring. What are you doing? Marcus kept his voice low, controlled. Coming to meet you. And Emma. I assume the girl in your daughter's school records matches the Emma you mentioned constantly. Miss Sterling. I don't know what game you're playing. No game. I want to understand you. Can't do that without understanding what matters to you. Which is, apparently, a 7-year-old girl in a library in North Philadelphia. You researched where I take my daughter. I research everything. Marcus felt old instincts stirring. Threat assessment. Protective protocols. The part of him trained to eliminate dangers before they materialized. Stay away from my daughter, he said quietly. Silence. Then, are you threatening me, Mr. Hale? I'm establishing boundaries. Emma is off limits. Non-negotiable. I see. Victoria's voice shifted. You think I'd hurt a child? I think you're used to getting what you want regardless of collateral damage. And I think my daughter is not collateral in whatever this is. More silence. Longer. Marcus could almost hear her recalculating. You're right, she said finally. I apologize, that was inappropriate. The apology shocked him more than her stalking. Thank you, Marcus managed. But I still want to talk. Not about Emma, about my offer. I gave you my answer. You gave me a reflexive no. I want a considered one. She paused. There's a coffee shop on Broad Street. Angelo's. Meet me there at 7. Please. The please surprised him again. I have Emma. Bring her. I'll buy her hot chocolate. We'll talk like adults while she colors or whatever 7-year-olds do. Marcus should have refused. Should have established distance, protected boundaries, maintained the walls between their worlds. Instead, he heard himself say, 7 o'clock, 1 hour, then you leave us alone. Deal. She hung up. Marcus stood in autumn rain, wondering what the hell he was doing. Inside, Emma worked on multiplication. trusting Daddy to keep the world safe. He was about to introduce her to a woman who represented everything he'd taught her to question. Angelo's coffee was warm, crowded, smelling like espresso and fresh pastries. Marcus and Emma arrived at 6:55. She held his hand, uncertain about the unfamiliar venue. "Is this a date, Daddy?" "No, sweetheart. Just a meeting." "With who?" "Someone I used to work for." Emma's eyes widened. "The mean lady?" Christ, she remembered everything. "She wants to apologize," Marcus lied. Victoria arrived exactly at 7. Marcus saw her through the window, black Mercedes SUV, driver opening her door, bodyguard scanning surroundings. She wore casual clothes that probably cost more than Marcus's monthly rent. Cashmere sweater, designer jeans, understated and devastating. She entered alone, leaving security outside. Smart. Less intimidating. Emma pressed against Marcus's leg as Victoria approached their table. "Mr. Hale." Victoria's eyes dropped. And this must be Emma. Emma stared up at the woman who'd yelled at Daddy. Her small hand tightened on Marcus's. Victoria knelt eye level. "Hey." "Hi, Emma. I'm Victoria. I owe your dad an apology. I was rude to him and that wasn't okay." Emma studied her with unsettling intensity. "You made him sad." "I did. I'm sorry." "Are you going to do it again?" Victoria blinked. Marcus fought a smile. "No," Victoria said carefully. "I'm not." "Okay." Emma relaxed slightly. "Daddy says everyone makes mistakes, even grown-ups. Your daddy's very wise." They sat. Victoria ordered hot chocolate for Emma, coffee for Marcus, nothing for herself. She watched Emma color, fascinated by the simple domesticity. "She looks like you," Victoria observed. "She looks like her mother." "I'm sorry. I heard about—" "Don't." Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. "That's not why we're here." Victoria nodded. "Right. Business." She leaned forward. "I've reconsidered my offer. Not security. Something better." "Miss Sterling, hear me out, please." That word again, foreign in her mouth. "I need an executive assistant. Someone who can travel, manage schedules, handle logistics. Someone I trust. You don't trust me. You don't know me. I trust that you're honest, that you have integrity, that you won't steal from me or leak sensitive information or try to leverage proximity into personal gain." She paused. "Those qualities are rarer than you'd think." Emma looked up from coloring. "What's tegrity?" "Integrity," Marcus corrected. "It means doing the right thing even when it's hard. Like when you give back extra change at the store?" "Exactly like that, sweetheart." Victoria watched this exchange with something approaching wonder. "How much would this job pay?" Marcus asked. 75,000. Benefits, regular hours. You'd travel occasionally, but I'd arrange childcare." "No. Mr. Hale, I don't need you arranging my daughter's care. And I don't need charity disguised as employment. This isn't charity. I genuinely need someone competent. Someone who won't be intimidated by me." She smiled without humor. "That's harder to find than you'd imagine." Marcus studied her. "Why me? Really, you could hire anyone. Why a former waiter with a military background you find suspicious?" Victoria's expression shifted, vulnerability flickering beneath polished certainty. "Because you looked at me like I was human," she said quietly. "Not a bank account. Not a connection. Not something to use or fear or manipulate. Just human. Do you know how rare that is?" Emma had stopped coloring. She watched Victoria with a child's instinct for authentic emotion. "You're lonely," Emma said suddenly. Victoria's eyes snapped to her. "What?" "You're lonely. Like Daddy was before he met Sarah. You have the same sad eyes." Marcus winced. "Emma, that's not—" "It's accurate," Victoria interrupted. She looked at Emma with naked honesty. "You're very perceptive. I'm 7. I notice things." Despite everything, Victoria laughed. Real laughter, unguarded and genuine. "I like you, Emma Hale. You're smarter than most adults I know." Emma considered this, then went back to coloring, satisfied. Marcus and Victoria sat in silence. Around them, Angelos bustled, students, couples, people living uncomplicated lives. Finally, Marcus spoke. "I'll think about it." Victoria's head snapped up. "Really? I need to research the role, understand expectations, make sure it's legitimate and not some elaborate guilt trip." "It's legitimate." "We'll see. Give me until Monday." Victoria stood, extended her hand. They shook, formal, businesslike, carrying undercurrents neither acknowledged. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for the hot chocolate." Marcus gestured at Emma's empty cup. Victoria smiled. "She's wonderful. You've done an incredible job. I've done my best. Sometimes that's enough." She left, expensive and untouchable, climbing into her Mercedes like a fairy tale in reverse. Emma watched her go. "Daddy? Is she going to be your boss?" "Maybe, sweetheart, still deciding." "I think you should do it." "Why?" Emma looked up, brown eyes serious. "Because she needs a friend, and you're good at being people's friend." Marcus pulled her close, 7 years old and wiser than anyone he'd met in combat. "When did you get so smart?" "I learned from you, Daddy." They finished at Angelo's, walked to the bus stop. Night had fallen, October cold, stars invisible behind city lights. Emma talked about school, about Halloween costumes, about whether astronauts could take dogs to space. Normal conversation. Invisible life, the life that mattered. At home, Marcus tucked Emma into bed, read Charlotte's Web, kissed her goodnight, then sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, researching executive assistant roles. The work seemed straightforward: scheduling, travel arrangements, communication liaison. Nothing requiring his old skills, nothing involving violence. $75,000, Emma's college fund, good food, reliable car, the things good fathers provided. But working for Victoria Sterling meant proximity to someone who unsettled him in ways he couldn't articulate, someone who saw too much, asked too many questions, threatened the careful isolation he'd built. His phone buzzed. "Sarah. Heard Sterling offered you a job. Please tell me you're taking it, thinking about it." "Marcus, this is $75,000. Think faster." He smiled, despite himself. Sarah's practical streak balanced his stubborn idealism. "What if it's a mistake? What if it's not? What if this is the break you've been waiting for?" Marcus stared at the screen. Breaks didn't happen to people like him. Life was grinding labor, invisible sacrifices, hope measured in Emma's smile. But what if Sarah was right? What if sometimes, against all logic, the universe offered second chances? His phone buzzed again. "Victoria, I know you're researching, I know you're skeptical, but I meant what I said. I need someone I can trust. That someone is you." Marcus typed, "Why?" "Because you're the only person in 10 years who's told me no. That makes you either insane or incorruptible." "I'm betting on the latter." He almost laughed. "Almost. I'll give you my answer Monday morning. I'll be waiting." Marcus closed the laptop, walked to Emma's room, watched her sleep. She'd drawn a new picture before bed, a man and a girl and a woman with yellow hair all holding hands. "She needs a friend," Emma had said. Maybe they both did. Outside, rain fell steadily. Philadelphia dreamed its indifferent dreams. And somewhere between poverty and possibility, Marcus Hale made a decision that would change everything. He'd take the job, not for the money, not for Victoria Sterling's redemption, for Emma, because good fathers didn't let pride cost their daughters' futures. Even when every instinct screamed that some doors once opened couldn't be closed. Even when he knew, bone deep, that Victoria Sterling represented danger he couldn't quantify. Even then, he'd take the job and pray it didn't destroy them all. Monday morning, Marcus stood outside Sterling Ventures' glass tower wearing his only suit, purchased at Goodwill, pressed until the creases could cut. Emma had kissed him goodbye with unusual solemnity, as if sensing her father was crossing into territory neither understood. Victoria's office occupied the 42nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Philadelphia like a conquest. She sat behind a desk that cost more than Marcus earned in a year, reviewing documents with surgical focus. Mr. Hale, punctual, good. Yes, ma'am. Miss Sterling. Yes, Miss Sterling. She almost smiled. Your primary responsibility is managing my schedule. Meetings, travel, communications. You'll coordinate with department heads, screen calls, handle logistics. She slid a folder across mahogany. Employment contract. Read carefully. Marcus did. The terms were clear, generous, intimidating. 75,000. Benefits. Confidentiality clauses that could crush him legally if violated. Questions? 1. Why are you really doing this? Victoria leaned back, studying him with those Arctic eyes. Because I'm tired of being surrounded by people who tell me what I want to hear. You tell me what I need to hear. That's valuable. Or dangerous. Both. She extended a pen. Sign or walk away. Your choice. Marcus thought of Emma, her drawings, her belief in superhero fathers. He signed. Good. Victoria stood. Let's begin. The first week was brutal. Marcus learned systems, protocols, the intricate machinery of wealth. He managed Victoria's calendar with military precision, every meeting timed, every contingency planned. She tested him constantly, watching for cracks. He gave her none, but proximity revealed truths. Victoria worked 16-hour days, ate lunch at her desk, deflected every personal question with boardroom efficiency. Lonely, Emma had said. The child saw clearly what adults missed. Friday evening, Victoria's last meeting ran late. Marcus waited outside her office, reviewing Monday's schedule. When the clients finally left, she emerged looking exhausted. Go home, Mr. Hale. In a moment. Tomorrow's logistics need confirmation. It's 7 p.m. You have a daughter. Marcus met her eyes. She's with Sarah tonight. I'm fine. Victoria studied him. You never talk about yourself. Why? Nothing interesting to tell. Liar. She moved closer. I researched you thoroughly. Military service, redacted files, medical discharge. What happened, Marcus? The use of his first name landed like a blade. Nothing relevant to this job. Everything about you is relevant. Her voice softened. I need to trust you. Can't do that with secrets between us. Marcus felt old walls cracking. Some secrets protect people, Miss Sterling. Leave it alone. Victoria. What? Call me Victoria. At least when we're alone. He said nothing. She sighed, collected her briefcase. Same time Monday, Mr. Hale. She left, expensive heels clicking on marble. Marcus stood in the empty office, wondering what the hell he'd gotten himself into. Outside, Philadelphia glittered with promises neither believed. 3 weeks in, routine shattered. Marcus was reviewing quarterly reports when Victoria's bodyguard burst through the office doors, face pale. Situation, parking garage. Now. Training kicked in. Marcus moved before thinking, following the bodyguard to the elevator. Victoria stood beside her Mercedes, surrounded by 3 men. Not security, threats. Marcus assessed instantly. Gang tattoos, concealed weapons, tactical positioning. Professional muscle sent to intimidate. Miss Sterling, step behind me. Victoria didn't argue. She'd seen something in his face. The transformation from assistant to operator. The lead thug smirked. This your new boyfriend, Vicky? Cute. Won't help. Marcus moved. Not rushed. Controlled. Pure efficiency. First man down in 2 seconds. Disarmed. Arm broken. Unconscious before hitting concrete. Second man drew a knife. Marcus redirected the blade. Drove the attacker's own momentum into a support column. Crunch of breaking ribs. Third man ran. Silence. Victoria stared at Marcus like she'd never seen him before. What the hell are you? Marcus's hands were steady, no adrenaline spike, no elevated heartbeat. Just another Tuesday in a life he'd tried leaving behind. Former Army Ranger, 75th Regiment, 3 tours, specialized in close quarters combat and high-value target extraction. His voice was empty, mechanical. Medical discharge after my team walked into an ambush. I was the only one who walked out. Victoria's breath caught. Jesus Christ. You wanted to know, now you know. Marcus looked at the unconscious men. We need to call police, but first tell me who sent them. Business rival, trying to scare me off an acquisition. It won't stop here. I know. Marcus met her eyes. I can protect you, but it means becoming what I left behind. What I promised my daughter I'd never be again. Victoria stepped closer. What did you promise her? That Daddy would come home clean. No more violence, no more blood. His voice cracked. She draws me as a superhero. How do I stay that if I become this again? By protecting people who need it. Victoria's hand touched his arm. You didn't choose this, Marcus. They brought it to you. There's honor in defending others. Tell that to Emma when she asks why Daddy has bruised knuckles. Tell her the truth, that good men fight when they must, that protecting people isn't wrong. Marcus looked at his hands, scarred, capable, stained with history he couldn't erase. Outside, sirens approached. Inside, something fundamental shifted. He'd spent 3 years running from what he was. Maybe it was time to accept it. For Emma, for Victoria, for himself. I'll need proper security clearance, he said quietly. Access to your schedule. 2. Background checks on everyone around you, authority to make tactical decisions. Victoria nodded. Done, whatever you need. And Emma never sees this side. Ever. Agreed. They stood in the parking garage, surrounded by unconscious threats, while something unspoken passed between them. Recognition. Trust. Maybe something more. 2 months later, Marcus sat in Angelo's coffee watching Emma color. Sarah had joined them, dates becoming something more, though nobody rushed to label it. Across the table, Victoria sipped espresso, looking more human than Marcus had ever seen her. The men in the garage had been prosecuted. The business rival neutralized. Victoria's company had thrived, and Marcus had settled into dual roles, executive assistant and shadow protector. Emma looked up suddenly. Daddy? Why does Miss Victoria eat lunch with us now? Marcus and Victoria exchanged glances. Because we're friends. Sweetheart. Good. Emma returned to coloring. She was lonely before, she's happier now. Victoria's eyes glistened. You know what, Emma? You're absolutely right. The months had changed them all. Victoria had learned that wealth couldn't buy the loyalty Marcus offered freely. Marcus had learned that protecting people didn't make him a monster. It made him the father Emma believed he was. Sarah squeezed his hand under the table. You look good, Marcus, peaceful. Feel it too. Because he'd stopped running, accepted that his past didn't define him, his choices did. Every day, he chose Emma, chose honor, chose to be the man his daughter drew with capes and courage. Victoria's phone buzzed. She checked it, smiled. Quarterly earnings up 32%. Congratulations. Couldn't have done it without you. She met his eyes. I mean that. You gave me something I'd never had. What's that? Someone who tells the truth. Someone who sees past the money. She paused. A friend. Emma looked up. See, Daddy? I told you she needed a friend. They all laughed. Genuine, unguarded. Outside, autumn had given way to winter. Philadelphia prepared for holidays, for new beginnings, for the quiet magic of ordinary lives. Marcus Hale had survived war, loss, poverty, and humiliation. He'd been broken and rebuilt, tested and tempered. But sitting here, watching his daughter color while 2 women he cared about shared coffee and conversation, he understood something profound. Redemption wasn't dramatic. It was daily. It was choosing dignity when degradation seemed easier, choosing honesty when lies paid better, choosing to be present, accountable, real. It was being the father Emma drew, the friend Victoria needed, the man Sarah deserved. Daddy? Emma held up her latest drawing. 3 adults and a child, holding hands beneath a rainbow. This is us. We're a family now. Marcus's throat tightened. Yeah, baby girl. We are. Victoria wiped her eyes. Sarah kissed his cheek. Emma returned to coloring, satisfied. And Marcus Hale, former ranger, single father, invisible man made visible through courage, understood that sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought with weapons. They're fought with integrity, one quiet choice at a time. Outside, snow began falling. Inside, a makeshift family celebrated the simple miracle of finding each other in a city designed for loneliness. The superhero father had saved them all by being exactly who he'd always been, exactly who his daughter needed him to be. A good man. The last good man.